Yay! So this is it. There's nothing to get. This is everything. Everything has infinite potential. It can be anything. It is everything. The unknown appearing is that which can be perceived. The formless appearing as shapes, colors, forms, faces on a screen, a room, walls, a chair. It's a magic show. The infinite exploring its infinite capacity by being everything. You are the infinite, and there is no separation. Seeing is rendering. So if I'm looking over here, simultaneously, this is rendered out of the window. But then looking over here, that doesn't exist. Just this. It's amazing. Just like when you're driving down the street wasn't there before. It's just simultaneously unfolding. It's magic. And this is the infinite imagination, the illusion, so that the noumenal can explore itself as the phenomenal. Singularity can see itself through the illusion of duality. And duality, I mean appearance of shapes and forms, because you are formless. You are this infinite, immutable energy that's appearing as all of these shapes and forms to explore yourself. And just like in deep sleep, where you as the noumenal are all alone without the illusion of other, can't be aware, can't see itself, but through this waking dream of relativity, of opposite concepts in the imagination, you can appear to explore. And it's already done. It's already done. This is a snapshot of everything that could possibly be. Immediately, immediate, and nothing happened before this. This is everything. It's like a clean slate. Every moment it just appears and disappears, like these words. Where are they going? They disappeared. You can't even prove that they happened. Can't even prove that the beginning of this call happened. It's just this. And this is what you're longing for. Whatever is appearing to happen immediately is everything, is the lover. You are the lover appearing as everything, appearing as what's immediately appearing to happen. And can also play hide and seek with yourself by seeking this, what's already happening. And the seeking pretends to cover up that it's just this in search for something else. There's a Japanese saying that I wanted to read. You run after beauty, beauty runs away. You run away from beauty, beauty will run after you, which is basically saying you're it. Like the analogy of the woman that was looking for her pearl necklace, and the whole time it was around her neck, and she searched everywhere for however long, and then looked in the mirror and was like, oh my God, I'm it. I'm what I'm looking for. And so the seeker is the sought. That's the joke, that there's nothing to get. And so the seeking is so beautiful too, because it's like the avoidance of absence. So it's like this I remember in the gradual story of Ginny, that didn't happen, but just to use this as an analogy, there was something that intuitively knew that I didn't exist. And it was almost like I was postponing it, or I was postponing it with this seeking So I kept giving myself a problem to solve or something to resist, which kept the mind busy with the chatter, which was should and shouldn't and working stuff out. And, oh, it's got to be somewhere else. And this enlightenment thing, I got to get it. It's going to be some special experience or something that's going to feel a certain way. And that was just delaying. And it was almost like savoring it too, because there was some kind of satisfaction in that as well. It was like God worshiping itself or God devoted to itself or something. It was something beautiful was happening there as well, where there was something felt good about that seeking. And it was also excruciating at the same time. But then it was just too obvious. It was like, oh my God. Without the thoughts, without what is there? There's nothing. Everything is just a thought. My whole life was just a story. I don't exist. I don't exist. And so that seeking can appear to postpone that recognition that you don't, that this is just a story. You're not the body. You're not the character. You're not bound to all of this stuff. You're infinite empty potential appearing as characters, bodies, chairs, apparent things. You're infinite, you're empty potential appearing full. And all of this was a dream. So there's a playfulness to it too. It doesn't need to happen. It's exploring itself as everything. What is it like to not wake up from the dream? What is it like to wake up from the dream and realize there was no one to wake up from the dream and nothing even happened? What is it like to seek money or sex or pleasure or relationships, seek in other ways? So this aliveness, this infinite potential is just exploring every which way that could possibly be or not be. As wilder than the imagination can even imagine. Just infinite. Like the mathematician Gödel, who was so genius, he went crazy. And this is just another story too. This is just God talking to itself about stories. But Einstein used to love to go on walks with him because he was so brilliant. But he came up with the completeness theorem, where he proved that no matter how much you use math to find base reality, you will never find it. There is no end. Once you solve one problem, there's another one. There will always be another layer to discover, on and on and on and on and on. Infinity. So there's just a involuntary fuck it. I give up. I can't get this. I am the unknown. And this is it already. This, the sound of the voice, the moving of the hand, everything. This is everything. This is it. This is the way that the noumenal sees itself. The noumenal that can't be seen or known. And it's absolutely stunning and beautiful. And it's already free. There's no enlightenment because everything's already enlightened. It's already this. Whatever's appearing to happen is everything. Infinite potential. Doesn't need to change. Can appear, is free to appear, is the thought that this needs to change, or the thought this isn't it and that's it too. That's the beauty. It's everything. It's the seeking, it's the longing. And when you look for it, it appears to hide by being the looking. And it's the one looking for it. So it's everything. It's the looker, it's the looking, it's what's looked for. It's everything. So there's no path to this because every path is this. There's no word for this because every word is this. there's no description of this because every description is this already. It's infinite, and all truths are true. So everything's true. One thought will magnetize like thoughts to prove it, which creates the belief, and then that can be rendered. So it's all make believe. There's nothing to prove because everything's the proof. And then there's all these, apparent relative perspectives, which can appear as limited beliefs, which that unique character will appear to attract evidence of its limited belief, and then it'll, project that that's all there is, or try to convince everyone that that's the only truth. But all truths are true. Everything's the truth, which also makes everything bullshit. Because it's playful, it's all make believe, it's whatever you want to believe. And whatever you want to believe, you can attract proof that it's true. Because it's infinite potential, it can be anything. So there can be an opening. There can be an opening and a recognition of how infinite this is, and not being bound by these paradigms and these thoughts and beliefs and stories, and a recognition you're not the body, you're not bound to the body, you're not even inside the body. You don't even need a body. Appearing as bodies, appearing as everything, which is absolutely beautiful. So infinite that you can't get outside of yourself to know. I wanted to read something that I wrote yesterday. Oh my gosh, hold on. Can you still see me? Because I'm getting the notes on my phone. Oh yeah, there's so many clues, like the dream at night and the deep sleep, and everything's a clue. The movie theater, movies, computers, VR headsets, it's all saying all of this.
Muppet Show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I love how neuroscience is talking about this, and quantum physicists, and they're really figuring this shit. I mean, you can't figure it out. You can never figure it out, but it's pointing to this same thing, that this is infinite, empty potential appearing as whatever's appearing to happen. It's already total freedom. So expansive, it's terrifying. And then there's a game of hide and seek. Which is just perfect. So who was in the dream at night? Only the seer. So if you investigate the dream at night and you're like, who was in the dream? And it didn't even happen. There's just one. There was just one in the dream. Same here. The seer is the seen. Because what is the observed without the observer? It has to have the observer. It is the observer. When you look for it, you lose it, because the looker is what's being looked for. So you're chasing yourself all over the place until you get exhausted and give up and realize it's already this, which just, you can't try to do that because that's resisting it. That's chasing it or seeking. It just involuntarily happens. It just kind of like I like what Wayne Dyer said about this, that sand in the hand, like a big pile of sand in your hand. He said, love lets go, and then fear, and so like the sand stays on the hand. It has all of it. It's available. It's there. It's obvious that it's just this, and there's no resistance to it. But then fear clenches, and then all the sand goes through it loses it through the the cracks of the fingers. So it's like when there's just a fuck it and just like I give up, it's just ta-da! It's already this. So when the looking stops, when you stop looking for it, it's found because you are it. You were just like a dog chasing its tail, looking for the tail. So one wouldn't appear to exist without other. So just like the deep sleep, where without the appearance of other, you don't see, there is no observing, but through this illusion of other, which is just appearance of shapes and objects, which is not separate, but through this, you can explore yourself as the one. So it's all still one. There is no subject object. But through this dream of this illusion, you can explore yourself. And even that sentence, one wouldn't appear to exist without other. Just like if you were the only one in the world, you wouldn't know what you were, or you wouldn't without seeing what you're not, without this involuntary negation of reference points of opposites. So one opposite defines the other opposite. You can't have one without the other because it wouldn't appear to exist without opposite. So that's how this illusion works. It's really cool. Through the illusion of other, it can experience itself, talking about infinite. What you are is the infinite. So through the mirror of duality, singularity sees itself. Through the appearance of form, the formless dances, one immutable energy appearing as separate bodies, but as singular, is one. So the absolute formless infinite potential, boundless energy, God, whatever you want to call it, that could and can be anything, is limitless, is boundless, is serenading itself through the movement of the hand, through the sound of the voice, through the walking of the feet, through the moving of the lips, through the batting of an eyelash, through every sensation. The song of one is being sung, immaculate, miraculously, shape-shifting, appearing as everything that could or couldn't be, is experiencing itself all in the sound of the voice, a thought, a car driving by, a pain in the leg, a broken heart, a lover's kiss, the taste of a peach. The ordinary is the extraordinary. Every word is a lie, but through the appearance of opposite, an involuntary negation reveals the unseeable energy that you are. By seeing what you're not, you see what you are. So there's not just one way, there's every way, and every way is it. Like every fraction of a fraction of a fraction of a word is everything they possibly be or not be. So there's no right or wrong way to point to this, because it is the pointing. It is the words. It's everything. It's totally free. It's totally free. It's even free to say it's not free. It's even free to say that there's a certain way to explain this or describe it, or you shouldn't say this word, or you shouldn't say the word pure awareness or God or whatever. That's it too. It's all true. It's free to be bound. It's free to be limited. One singularity only appears as one in reference to other. Which is wild. It's just like, wow. Just like in deep sleep, there's nothing. There's no comparison. There's no other appearance of other, which is still singular, which is still nothing appearing as everything. One way to point means there's an opposite way to point, to define this way, because there's infinite ways to point, because it's literally everything. So You can point in one way or you can point in the other way. If there's one way, then there's going to be the opposite way. And both ways are true because it is the way. It's everything. You can't escape it. There could be, characters that have a preference to a way of pointing, and only prefer that way and say this is the only way to point and all the other ways people are pointing is not the way. And it's free to say that too. But this character says it's every fucking way. It's every way to point. It's everything. Everything's free. Freedom is so free. So free. So who was in the dream last night? It was only me. I'm all alone. What is me? Me is the infinite seer, infinite potential, infinite, appearing as everything, appearing as imagined characters, imagined forms and shapes and colors and anything that could possibly be imagined or not imagined. Appearing is everything. If everything is me, not as in the body character, but as the infinite potential that is empty, can be anything, has no meaning except the meaning I give it, then I'm not bound to anything. I can be anything, am everything, which is no thing. Yay! And what is all of that without a thought? It's all just thoughts. What is anything without a thought? Yay, we can talk about anything. It's a free fall. Anything and everything. If you want to unmute or chat in the chat box or both or neither. It's everything.
What you have just read, can you send us? Can
Oh,
you?
yeah.
Yeah.
I would love to. Yes.
And it comes from where? The origin?
It comes from where?
Yeah.
Nowhere. Nothing. It's just infinite potential appearing as writing. Some people call it channeling, but everything would be channeling. What you just said was channeled. It's all coming from empty potential. It's just there's no individual, there's no separation. It's just one infinite, one God talking to itself, exploring itself. So so I'll get these urges to write and then I have to stop whatever it is and just write immediately. Even if it's driving, I pull over and write. And then there's some days when it's really annoying because it keeps coming and I'm like, shut up. And like, so that was, yeah, it's so fun. There's like a book's worth, but I don't have right now the motivation to organize it and publish it or anything. But I don't know, maybe anything could happen. Could suddenly get the motivation. But no one's doing it. It would just be magically appearing to happen. What about you? Do you write?
No, not. No, no.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes, very rare. I got
Yeah.
some inspiration and I wrote something. Because if you don't write it, you forget.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes it'll come up later if you do forget, it'll come up. Um, But yeah, this in the story of Jenny, the character Jenny would do that with paintings. It would just be like on the fly, like, oh my God, I have to do this right now. I have to sketch this. Gotta get it down on the canvas, you know? So it's the same thing. It's just that's cool. Yeah, everything said is this infinite potential just arising as words.
Why then, Azizi, if you have questions, you may ask, because I do not have a special question to ask. And if you do not ask question, then I will continue chatting.
Oh yeah. And you have all the answers. That's the other cool thing. And the question is the answer.
I will. So I wait a little time. I switch my camera on.
Yeah. What'd you say? You switched your camera on? I might put on my earbuds so I can hear better. Hold on. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah, so there's nothing to get. This is it. This is everything. Infinite potential appearing as whatever's appearing to happen. Exploring what it's like to be. And with that uniqueness, exploring what it's like to be, there appears to be randomness and probability distribution, so it can appear unique, like in a unique experience. So you'll resonate with some things and you won't resonate with other, but then there'll be the opposite, where another apparent character will resonate with the opposite of you and the opposite, so that this one singularity explores its infinite potential through everything, through every opinion, through every, which is all just concepts, paradigms in the mind, in the one mind. So what resonates for one character might not resonate for another, which is just beautiful because it's all one experiencing itself as infinite qualities and opinions and thoughts. And then what is it without a thought? Nothing. There's nothing. Have you ever been in a float tank where it feels like zero gravity because there's so much Epsom salt? There's like 600 pounds or something of Epsom salt in the water. So the body's literally weightless. It's like you're in outer space floating. And then there's no sound, like the room is soundproof and it's pitch black dark. So when there's no thoughts, there's literally nothing, nothing. It's absolutely amazing. And it can be very obvious that when the thought comes in, that's where the story is. It's like it's all conceptual. And the dialogue starts to label this and that, and with its paradigms and limited beliefs, because one thought attracts another thought and it makes a cluster of thoughts that forms the paradigm, and so it can become limited and can get very distracted with kind of like God putting on the VR headset and forgetting and thinking it's the avatar in the headset and all of this is real and this is limited and bound and I'm bound to my story and this happened to me and I was traumatized and but then it can be so obvious that oh my God, that's not even real. It didn't even happen. It's just a thought, an innocent thought arising in the imagination. Can't be bound. Totally limitless. So limitless that it can appear limited. But even if you're so yeah, it can be obvious and then the thoughts aren't sticky. They just appear and disappear and there's no one clinging on or identifying with it. And it's obvious that it never even happened. Like a thought will arise and disappear and it didn't even happen. And even if you're standing somewhere, if you're sitting in a room like looking and then there's no thoughts, there's complete silence, no thought, there's no label, there's no story, there's no identifying objects, there's nothing. There's not even a concept of this is a room. It's just like empty image, nothing there. And it can be anything. Oh, you're not on. You're muted. There we go. Okay.
I am coughing. That's why I I will mute.
Oh, okay. Well,
So
that's the
it's not
meditation too.
so it's like God disguised as Raj and Jenny chatting, but
Yay.
it is God chatting to itself.
Yes, it's so adorable and wonderful.
and, and God appears not only as the good stuff, it appears as the wars, the rape, the killing, the blood, the torture, every negative and positive stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. And when
And,
go ahead.
and it was a French teacher who said he had a glimpse, and in that glimpse, he saw clearly there was a crime, and he saw it was clear in that glimpse that the murderer was God. The murdered was God. The knife was God. The blood was God. Everything was God.
Yay!
Yeah.
Oh, it's so free. Isn't that beautiful?
And he added that from now on, whenever he will see horrible stuff, he will just assume that it is all perfect and divine, even if he can't see in what way it is perfect. He will just assume it is perfect. It must be perfect
Totally.
because of the glimpse.
Yes, it is. It's so perfect. Oh my gosh. It's,
Yeah,
yeah, God making love to itself through
yeah,
everything, every potential, which means it's all opposites because you can't have one without the other. So if there's a
yeah.
Hitler, there's going to be a Mother Teresa. If there's a Leave It to Beaver family, there's going to be a Charles Manson family.
Because without wars, you can't appreciate peace.
I know that's what it wouldn't appear to
Yeah,
exist without the opposite. The opposite is what defines it. So it's through this
yeah,
negation you can see
yeah,
what you are and what you're not. And that's what's
yeah,
so
yeah,
beautiful. Yeah.
yeah,
Just like being the only one, that analogy of being the only one in the world, you wouldn't know what you were until you saw the opposite. And then you
yeah,
can define. Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
It's so cool how that works. And it's all one immutable energy appearing as opposites.
yeah,
So opposite does not mean separation. It's just opposite concepts in the imagination. It's just one.
yeah. It
Yeah.
is inevitable.
Mm-hmm.
It has to be like that.
Mm-hmm.
It can't be otherwise.
Yeah. And it's all inclusive.
Yeah,
All inclusive. Includes everything. It includes torture. It includes rape. It includes the love for a baby. It includes nurturing someone. It includes murdering. And it's like a cinema show, like the crazy stuff on the movies, you know? It's like everything's the clue. Everything that's appearing is a clue.
the enlightenment is nothing but the seeing of the joke, that everything is it, but it appears, it doesn't appear it.
What was the last part?
Everything is it,
Mm-hmm.
but it appears that it is not it. This is not it. The torture is not it.
Yeah, the resistance. I always say
Yeah,
resistance is existence because that's the pretend veil of separation, the subject object, where it's like victim. When what you resist persists because what you're resisting is what you're longing for. So if you're resisting the rape, then that's what you're longing for, because basically the resistance is saying, you're not whole, you're not it, you're not home, you're not allowed to come home. And then it'll keep screaming to come home, which is what causes the suffering, the sensation of suffering, because the resistance is alarming the intuition is alarming the system that, no, this is it too, darling. This is it's everything. And then just like a nightmare at night, when the resistance gets so intense and the contractions like squeezing, and then it wakes you up. It's like, oh my God, that was just a dream. So that's how resistance is also the catapult to recognizing this obviousness. So it's all it's all a beautiful play.
and you can't end the seeking by itself. What I have seen, it just comes when it comes. One day you
Mm-hmm.
just notice that, hey, I'm not seeking it in one enlightenment. It has the seeking has gone by
Yeah,
itself.
totally.
You can't make it happen. You can't make any
Yeah.
effort to end the seeking.
Yeah, because that would be more seeking. That would be seeking
Yeah,
the end of seeking.
yeah,
And that would be resisting it, resisting the surrender by trying to surrender. So the
yes,
yeah, it just gets exhausted, and it's like, fuck it, I can't figure it out. And then it's like, boom. But also, I've talked to a lot of people that didn't even notice. It was very unnoticeable that the seeking stopped. And then just one day they noticed, oh, wow, I'm not seeking. And
Yeah.
then even like the me or whatever, when there was an identification with body and character, um, some people didn't even notice that that was gone either, where there was no more identification of a me or an individual. So it's a non-event. There's nothing to wait for. It appears unique, for everyone. There could be a noticeable shift. There can be a total non-event where nothing. Yeah, it just didn't even, because there already is no me, no separation already. So there really is nothing to happen. It would just be.
And, and many teachers, for them, enlightenment is no self and seeing oneness everywhere. But, but this is nonsense, because seeing no self and seeing oneness everywhere, you have the free will to do that. It comes when it comes.
Yeah,
So, so the only thing that matters is surrender.
yeah.
And that also, it is not something that you can do. It just comes when it comes. But
Mm-hmm.
in surrender, there is no this aspect of no self and seeing oneness everywhere. It's not important. It's not relevant. Just
Mm-mm.
surrender. You just feel surrender.
Yeah, it just gives up the search. There's nothing to get. It's too obvious that and then that there's everything is just a story. It's just a thought. This is totally silent and still and empty. It's empty potential appearing is everything appearing, and you're not the limited, finite character, anything. You're eternal. You go on forever. You can't die. You're infinite, appearing as all of these bodies. And yeah, and there's no the hide and seek game can appear as expecting it to feel a certain way, expecting it to be bliss, or, oh, I'm not feeling ecstasy yet, I must not be there yet. That's another trick. Because
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
literally whatever's appearing to happen now immediately. And there is no practice, because the practice is it. So it's literally everything. So there's no one way, or because it is the way. It is every word, every sensation, every thought, every appearance already. So looking for it appears to hide it, because it's implying that whatever's appearing immediately is not it. And then there's a seeing, an involuntary, spontaneous seeing that, wow, whatever, yeah, this is it. And some people say they were disappointed. They're like, this is it. Yeah.
So if I want to do hypnosis, dehypnosis, or chak, healing of chakra,
Hmm.
DNA activation, if I want to do all this is this too.
Yeah, that's divine will. There's no individual free will. There's just one totality appearing to function as a whole. So there wouldn't be like a choice whether or not to do that or not. It's divine will, because it's one exploring its infinite capacity. So that would be singular. It would be one exploring hypnosis, exploring, because this is magic. I mean, this is infinite. This is imagination, even beyond imagination, even beyond whatever you can imagine. Infinite, 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 infinite potential, can be anything. So it can be fun to explore all that, you know? And I do the same thing. I love geeking out on the neuroscience, and quantum physics and stuff, and exploring, because I used to love to, in the story that never happened because there is no Ginny, but just for fun, exploring quantum shifting. And because you're only as limited as you believe you are, basically, because you're infinite potential. So if you limit and you say, well, I'm bound to this finite experience, and I'm just this little old me that, that can't do much, and, does this and does that, and it's very limited. Freedom can appear as that, and that can appear to play out like that. But if you recognize how limitless you are, that destroys all paradigms, and you can literally play with anything. You can do anything. So you are infinite potential. You can explore in any way, which, as a totality functioning as a whole, that would be divine will. That would be the probability distribution of that character that recognizes that it's the whole, that it's infinite, limitless. It can, that it's not just bound to these limited beliefs. It's beyond everything. It's beyond everything appearing as everything. So then, when I recognized that, I started exploring quantum shifting, and just the infinite exploration of seeing this is total magic. And since one belief can attract other beliefs to back it up, to prove it, you'll render that experience, you'll render whatever's being, you'll project it. So then I just saw all of this magic. Like, it was just like, holy shit, can be anything. This really can be anything, and then I started exploring with that stuff. So after seeking stopped, I got back into that stuff, and I'm really excited about OBEs and, out of body experiences, and just playing. This is an infinite playground. Yeah, like Donald Hoffman, those videos that I sent on the WhatsApp, he calls it the infinite candy store. So it's like the infinite exploring its infinite candy store. Can do, just having fun. It's all for fun. It's all playful. And you are beyond the VR headset appearing as the VR headset. Yeah. And so like, it's so beautiful because it's like all of these imaginary characters appearing as one infinite intelligence exploring itself in infinite capacity in infinite ways that can appear as a limitation, or, you know, or can appear as limitless, but it's all limitless. And I love the magic of this. I love talking about it. I love exploring it. I used to be into metaphysical stuff and all of that. A lot of it, at first, it can die in the dumpster fire, and then it can come back to life where the character geeks out on whatever it loves, whatever it's naturally, organically being drawn to. Let me read this quote that Michael Jeffrey sent me it's perfect for this. Let's see if I can find it. And this is speaking of Zen. Let's see. Before one studies Zen, mountains are mountains and waters are waters. After a first glimpse into the truth of Zen, mountains are no longer mountains and waters are no longer waters. After enlightenment, mountains are once again mountains and waters are once again waters. So that's what we've been talking about. It's so there can be that apparent shift where it's like, holy shit, none of this is real and none of this is happening. It's almost like a death of all ideas that you thought were real and all of this stuff. But then it comes back to life. It's just like, oh my God, this is it. The mountains are it. The waters are it. Like I am serenading myself, permeating through all of this, appearing as all of this. And it's just all absolutely stunning. And so then there's enjoying life, and there's and the ordinary is the extraordinary. Washing dishes is the most profound spiritual experience. It's everything. And yeah, and then geeking out on all the stuff that you used to geek out before seeking started, like, getting back into the hypnosis or the chakras or the
Kundalini. I also want to do Kundalini.
Yeah.
Activation.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just you as the infinite exploring that, and that's perfect. It's all perfect.
Can we talk on what, and as you say, if you have question you may ask, just unmute and ask your question. Otherwise I will continue chatting.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So I wish to talk on new free will. So what I understood is there is no individual free will. The individual free will that I feel is an illusion. There is only the divine will.
Oh, you just muted. Oh, okay. You meant to. Okay.
So the enlightened one, his will is aligned with the divine will. So he can say that he has free will, but his free will is not different from the divine will. It is one will. When he is saying that he has free will, he is saying he has a will of his will is the same as the divine will. But the seeker, when he has the individual free will, but the divine will is something else. So the individual, for the seeker, the individual will is not the same as the divine will. It's not the same. So in this sense that, so we can say that for the individual, he has no free will.
Yeah, I see it as all divine will. I see it as all one totality appearing to function as a whole, that is just one God, one divine flow. So even the analogy of the body where the inside of, there's no inside and outside, but I'm just using this as an analogy, like the body involuntarily functions as a whole, like, and it's so this whole is involuntarily functioning as a whole, and whatever the apparent character is appearing to do is balancing the whole. It's all the whole. It's all the whole balancing itself. So there's no choice whether to do or not do, or to make the choice or to make the but it's it can appear when there's resistance to what's appearing to happen, that it can appear that it's not in the flow, where it's like things are not working out the way you want it to, or whatever. But when there's that energetic fuck it that we were talking about that happens, when there's no more resistance and you don't give a shit anymore, then it appears that everything works out great, because you're not butting up against it. You're not saying, oh, it should or shouldn't be this way, or there's, so then it appears like everything's working out, and it's like, oh my gosh, I'm in the flow of divine will, I'm in
Yeah,
alignment. Yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah.
that's why, it's because it's like open. It's not like, like when it's resisting, and it's like, so, and that can appear very frustrating when you think you're, because the desires and the wants of the character, aren't always going as you planned or whatever, or, sometimes nothing's going as you planned because, but then when there's that openness, that non-resistance, where it's just presence, it's just beingness, it's whatever's appearing to happen is total in loveness, and it's allowed to be, then it appears that it's in the flow, like the wu wei. It's in the flow of divine will, because it already is that. It already was that always. It's always been that, because it's singular. It's one immutable energy appearing to function as a whole.
So if I want to do Kundalini activation, maybe it is a divine will. It is a divine will. It is my will, but it is a divine will as well.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah.
It's
And when I am watching funny videos and I'm laughing like mad, then the divine will and my will are the same.
yeah. Yes, someone was telling me that recently. Laughing and something else was very obvious that there's no resistance at all. It's just like, yeah, that is cool.
White was wanted to ask a question. He unmuted. White can ask a question. You went away.
Oh yeah, might not have had a question.
He was on mute.
Mm-hmm.
You notice he was on mute?
Yeah. Sometimes that can accidentally happen though, the mute and unmute.
So they are not asking questions.
Yeah.
It is.
The question is it. The question is the answer. Everything is it.
Everything is it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's so cool how these qualities that appear in this illusion of beingness, the infinite qualities, can appear as like a combination of qualities which appear to form the character, and then those qualities have randomness and probability distribution. So it's like it's probable for one character to choose a certain thing, like if you were given a selection of 4 things to choose, the character automatically chooses it's what it's probable to choose based on its unique qualities. which is just the infinite potential, exploring what it's like to be unique or to experience something unique. And this can expand out, like when it's seen that it's infinite potential appearing as unique quality. It can yeah, it's just limitless. It's limitless. But those choices are balancing out the whole, because they are the whole. And so yeah, it's so cool. So what resonates with one character won't resonate with the other, but if there's something that resonates with one character, then there will be its opposite to define it, so it can know what it, or it can know what it is, because you have to have all the opposites.
The cuff is it as well?
The what? The cough? Yeah.
The
Yeah.
and the cuff is not going away.
Yeah. It's free to be cough. Yeah. It's amazing. Yeah, it's amazing how it's free to appear as a character that says, it's only this way, it can only be said this way, this is the only way. And then that would create the opposite character that says the opposite, that it can be any way, it's every way, the way is it, you know. And that's how it just infinitely explores itself, is through all of these apparent opposites.
I was teaching and I had a boss. My boss was a lady which was always offending me before pupils. So I wanted to leave the job. So now when I look back, that lady was a divine too.
Yeah, isn't that amazing? It's so amazing that up against this friction is where it evolves too. Like I just made a video about that I didn't post on YouTube, but there were these studies done, which is just another story exploring itself. There were these studies done on groups of people that were too much alike. They were put together. Thank you, Sheer. They were put together in a group that were too much alike, and they started to de-evolve. They were high entropy because they needed like the opposites to evolve, to grow. So it was like, by bumping up against that opposite, it like forces this expansion that happens, which is absolutely stunning, which is goes to show that it's all included, it's all one, like it's all one, can't appear to exist without the other, you know.
I was a teacher. So there were some bad pupils which offends teachers. So now I see that without the bad pupils, the good pupils won't have value.
Yeah. Isn't that great? We gotta have all of it. Gotta include all of it. Everything's allowed on the playground. All the bullies are
Yeah.
allowed on the playground, all of it, you know?
Yeah. In order to appreciate the good pupils, there has to be some violent, some bad pupils.
Yeah. And it catalyzes the the recognition too. It's like wakes you up. It's like shakes you. It's so
Yeah.
cool. Every time I had that happen or whatever, um, there was a huge birth or something. It was almost like a death and a birth that appeared to happen. And it was like almost like I up leveled or um yeah, it's really cool. In the story, because it's immediate. It can appear gradual, but it's immediate. It's just amazing how it's all one soup of infinite qualities. It's all the same soup. Yay! I gotta go do
Okay.
homeschool with my boy.
Yeah,
Love you
I go
guys.
to I go to dinner. My
Oh,
time for
good.
dinner.
It's your dinner
Exactly.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's my breakfast time. Gotta have the opposite. Yay. Mwah. Love you guys. That was awesome. I'll see you
Thank-
next Tuesday.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.